Hi, and welcome to another Q&A video. This is a video series where I answer questions from people dealing with everything around how to accept our bodies in the bodies that we have right now. So in this video, I am going to answer a question from Tanya. So Tanya writes, I went to a party the other night and the host welcomes me with the words, "Well, you sure put on some weight." My only comment was, "Correct." And that was the end of the party for me. Luckily, I didn't feel compelled to justify or even defend or explain myself, but truly on the inside, I was devastated. I left the party early feeling so ashamed and not welcome and judged, and I'm very reluctant now to see that person again. And even worse, I am so scared now to walk into another situation like that, so I avoid meeting people who I haven't seen since I started gaining weight. So what can I do to release some of this fear? How can I handle these situations where people comment on my weight gain? I knew that it would be hard to move away from diet culture, but up to now, it has only brought me into isolation and constant fear. So Tanya, thank you so much for submitting your question, and my heart goes out to you. I understand how hard this can be to be gaining weight in an incredibly fat-phobic culture. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a very courageous thing to do to actually stop pursuing the thin ideal and start, really treating yourself with the love and respect that you deserve. So firstly, I just want to say that this is a really challenging transition time. We do happen to notice changes in people's bodies. And really, if it wasn't for the fact that we lived in such a fat-phobic culture, would it even matter if somebody commented on our weight? It's just because we have put a moral judgment on weight that it really matters. So we've equated fat with bad and thin with good. So that's why it stings so much when somebody comments on our size or our body, is because of everything else that we've attached to it. So, you can start by asking yourself the question, what do I make this mean? Somebody comments on my body and they say I've gained weight, and that means that. What are you making that mean about yourself? That people don't like you, that they, don't find you attractive? Like, what is it? Because starting to uncover the beliefs underneath it can start to bring to light why you're having such a reaction. And understanding that these moral judgments and values that our culture has put on body size are not true. They're not true. We have just believed them because we've grown up in it, but it does not mean that it's true. So we really need to start questioning that and start to really put ourselves up against that, because the thing is that you have internalized fat phobia. We've all internalized fat phobia, and that's why it hurts, is because you make it think that there's something bad about yourself. And it's so common to do. So I don't even remotely, there's no blame here, so please don't take it that way. It's just really understanding that that's where that's coming from. So how to handle it in the moment, I thought you handled it really beautifully. It was just really matter of fact. So when that host said, "Well, you sure put on some weight," and you said, "Correct," like, that's just it. It's a fact. Yep, you did. If there's no judgment about it, yeah, I did. End of story, moving on. And that will actually shock some people. And that's what I really love about this approach, is that we're so conditioned to respond in a negative way, or to think it's bad that somebody gained weight, that when you're just like, "No, I did," people will be like, And the best thing is that it might actually start to change how they relate to their body. It might give them some permission to be like, well, maybe I don't need to worry about it so much. So another thing that I also want to say too is just really have some compassion for yourself. And if you find that you're struggling sometimes with your body, just, you don't have to put yourself in social situations if you just need a break. You don't have to like boom, 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 be like meeting everybody that you haven't seen in a while and dealing with all of the comments. You can kind of space it out, give yourself some time. This is a tough process. But the beautiful thing is that eventually people are just going to get used to it. They're just going to see you in your new body, and that's it. There's going to be no big deal about it. Because realizing that ultimately in the end, it's not what the person looks like that we care about, it's who they are. And so your friends, people that you love you for you. And the more that you treat your own body as no big deal in terms of the weight gain, other people will too, eventually. And I also recommend too, if you haven't, download my Body Acceptance Jumpstart Guide, because in there I give a lot of resources of books and podcasts to listen to, because that is what I find so helpful when we're going through this process initially, because in diet culture, we're not getting a very supportive message. So we need to really surround ourselves with that supportive message of where we can get it. So I have a link below that you can click to download the Jumpstart Guide, and hopefully that you find it helpful. And just really, final words, keep going. You are courageous, you are brave, you are strong, or else you wouldn't be doing this. And more than anything else, I know that you have such a love for yourself, because anybody who is doing this journey, who is just working on accepting their body and saying, I don't need to be a particular look or way in order to be loved, in order to feel valued, I know really cares deeply about themselves. So thank you again so much for submitting that question. And for those of you watching, thanks for watching. If you have a question, if there's something you would like me to address or talk about related to body acceptance, related to how can you have a better relationship with food or exercise that's not coming from diet culture, again, I have another link below that you can click on to submit your question. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and see you at the next video. Bye.